Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. This is the month of March, so we're celebrating Women's Herstory Month. And I am so excited to be celebrating this year the following in the UN's footsteps, the Year of the Woman Farmer. So everybody that I've been interviewing this month has been women farmers across the country, and one actually in Sweden. And so it's really interesting to hear where they're coming from, how they got to be farmers, and how they're feeding us and the people at our event. So and today I'm excited to introduce you to Anamaria Gutiérrez, who is from Austin. She is I'm going to say this wrong, Tahana. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Urban farmer who is dedicated to building community through food in Austin, as I said. She's an entrepreneur, an urban farmer, a yoga teacher, which is, I want to know if you do yoga in the garden, and an outdoor educator. At the Este Garden, she is on her 23rd season of cultivating a 1/3 acre edible garden for farm to table restaurants, Suerte, Este, and Bartoti. She's also growing culturally meaningful fresh food for renowned restaurant Nixta Taqueria in their backyard alongside their team. And while tending to all of these urban gardens, Anamaria offers educational programming and hosts community events. And I found out she's also working in her neighborhood with the city to build a park and have a garden in the park. So welcome to the show, Anamaria.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you. So, I wrote this in the description of the episode is like you got your start in farming by volunteering at urban farms while finishing your business degree at UT. I'm like, so you didn't even study farming at UT. You studied business, which is a good thing to do as a farmer. And what drew you to doing that? And what did that early experience teach you that you couldn't have learned anywhere else?
Well, when I was in business school, I really wasn't feeling the corporate agenda. And growing up, I used to volunteer a lot back home. And so I figured I needed to get out there and do something else with my time. And I went to the Central Texas Food Bank to volunteer. And we started to talk about like food access and the fact that we have some urban farms here in Austin. And I think that just sparked my curiosity about never having gone to volunteer at a farm. So I did. I went to one called Urban Roots, which focuses on youth leadership education, and all of their food goes to hunger relief organizations.
Okay.
And I just when I was there, I learned how squash grew. I remember we were harvesting squash and I was sweating and, my hands were dirty, and I was surrounded by young people interested in farming. And something clicked in me that I said, I'm really curious about this. I care about where our food comes from, where the food on my plate is from, and where it goes to next. And I want to keep doing this. And so I just kept volunteering for a couple years. Yeah.
And then you got your path to Este Garden. You moved to a farmer's market, right? Then, and you had your own product.
Yeah. So once I graduated from UT, I had spent 2 years farming and working in restaurants. And I decided I was going to keep pursuing working with food. Okay. And so I started working at Suerte, which led to where I am now farming, that restaurant. But I also started working at the farmers market. I was food access coordinator first, and then I did market coordination, and then I started my own elotes business, which is like Mexican street corn.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So definitely that entrepreneur spirit, and like that business started from wanting to provide what was a culturally meaningful food to me growing up, and to a lot of Latinos here in Austin. There's not too many good elotes, or there weren't at that time here. And so I did that, and I did a fellowship at a farm. And that all slowly like added up to now farming for restaurants.
And you literally like went door to door knocking on their door saying, hey, I want to pitch you. I want to grow a restaurant, or I want to grow a garden next to your restaurant.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
So I was working at this restaurant Suerte, and the owner had bought the property that they were going to build the second restaurant, Este, on.
Okay.
And that property had a garden lot, which is this 3rd acre.
Okay.
That the previous restaurant had tended to as a garden and used that food for their restaurant. But at this point, that space was just like idle. And the owner of the restaurant told me, like, oh, we bought this, restaurant property, and it has this, like, do you want to look at it? And so I went out there and I saw it, and I just like was like, this needs to happen. So I wrote a proposal. I met with him, and he was like, oh, no, I'm not trying to pursue anything like that right now.
Uh-huh.
But I sowed that seed, I took that chance. And right after that, the pandemic hit.
Okay.
A couple months after, and then the restaurants were getting some government money to pay employees through PPP loans. And that's when he reached back out and said, hey, I have a little extra money right now for paying employees. I could hire you for 6 weeks if you want to play with the space. And I said, yes. And can I bring someone with me, which was one of my farm mentors, with more experience than me, so that we could achieve a lot in 6 weeks. And now I'm embarking on 6 years there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he continued to pay you. The 6 weeks turned into 6 years. Wow, that's amazing.
I know. It was really amazing.
Because in 6 weeks, you can't really grow that much in 6 weeks if you haven't tended to the garden at all, right?
I know. We accomplished a lot, honestly. We turned over beds, and we already had inherited really great soil because it used to be a garden. And we put plants in, and by the end of the 6 weeks, we were harvesting peppers, green beans. Yeah.
And what time of the year was that?
This was in the summer.
Okay.
Which is really intense here in Austin, Texas. But we grow year round here in Texas. Yeah. In Central Texas.
And so from those few crops, are you still growing those same crops, or has that changed over the 6 years?
Yeah. I mean, I still grow green beans, and I still grow lots of peppers for sure. But we grow a lot more. And it's changed throughout the years. Like, I've gotten to get more familiar with not just what crops, but what varieties do well in Central Texas. Also introduced new stuff that isn't really popularly grown around here, like stuff from Mexico, and introduced like specialty items too for the restaurants.
And okay, did you look at like the menus and what he was buying from Sodexo or Cisco and US Foods and say, okay, I can grow this here instead of you buying it from them?
Yeah, I think like Because it's a third of an acre,
And which is how
and
much, feet wise, how much is that? Let me see.
yeah,
Let me
let's
see if
see.
Google can convert that
Okay.
for me.
Yeah, let's see how much that is.
1/3,
Like
oops,
500.
acre into feet. Okay. Oh, now they gave me calculate me. Okay, so 1/3 acre calculate is 14,500 square feet. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So whatever that is.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, it, it's a generous amount of
okay.
land for
Mm-hmm.
being in the city,
Okay.
you know.
Right.
It's kind of like half a block.
Okay. Okay. That's a good
Or like,
description. Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But also we now have 3 restaurants, and so not everything on the menu comes from our garden because that's
Okay.
impossible
Right.
based on how many people we feed. But everything we grow is used by our restaurants, and so we try to focus more on like specialty items, like the types of peppers that are like habanada, which is like an habanero without spice,
Okay.
and different kind of sweet spicy peppers that go well with our seafood. And artichokes is something I'm trying this year.
Oh, okay.
We grow a lot of edible flowers and a lot of herbs, which
Okay.
are, more expensive to buy in
Mm-hmm.
items, right? So that's kind of a place where it's like, let's not buy this from anywhere else when we can grow them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I did more
Yeah.
calculations. Like it's 120 feet by 120 feet. There you go.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay.
Something
Anyways.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes sense. But then on a city block too, that's a half of a city block. That's, a lot of land. And especially in downtown Austin. I mean, if you think about them tearing down the convention center and rebuilding it from the ground up, so that property is worth a lot. And to me,
Yeah.
it's worth a lot for the restaurant because he's growing all that stuff that you're using in those 3 restaurants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We've grown like 10,000 pounds of food a year.
wow. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And the artichokes will be interesting. I love eating canned artichokes because they're already cleaned for me. But
Yeah. Yes.
what, from season 1 when you did that and the peppers and the green beans, what have you learned from that land, that you couldn't have known in season 1? I mean, you started with some good soil, but you've nurtured all of that soil now for 23 seasons. What have you learned?
Yeah. Yeah. It's taught me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farming is very spiritual to me.
Mhm.
Growing food is. Um, because there's a whole ecosystem happening there
Mhm.
from, all the life below our feet in the soil like sustains everything that we see above ground. And I guess like learning how to care for the soil better.
Mhm.
Farmers grow soil. That's a common thing we say. So learning practices of like creating a balanced ecosystem in the soil
Mhm.
and keeping it alive. But less technical, I'd say I've learned like how abundant a small green space can be in the city.
Mhm.
And not just harvest wise, although very much so, but also like the relationships that are built in a
Mhm.
space like that, and like the life that's sustained, like pollinators and birds and
Mhm.
trees and all of that, just I've really learned that from being in this space, how much of a giving well that it is.
I love that. Now,
Mhm.
but think about the people too, the ones that you work with. How has it, working with them, has it changed them in understanding, the menu and growing food? Do any of them help you in the garden as well?
Yeah, I think it definitely does influence people knowing where their food comes from and seeing how it grows. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we have sometimes, if we've never seen something grow, we have no idea what that crop looks like. Um, so it has influenced people. At Nixta Jardín, which is a separate restaurant that has a backyard garden. I've tended to that the with the team there specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked with it's a smaller restaurant. So I've worked more hands-on with the employees and built relationships there to where, they are some of them are now having gardens in their homes
Oh,
and
that's nice.
stuff. So passing on that knowledge to others and in the restaurant, definitely influencing. Like, you have to get creative when you receive like 2 bus tubs of lemongrass, or or when you're a Mexican restaurant and you have a ton of like Italian basil and you're like, but this is not something we normally cook with.
Uh-huh.
And then they made like a green tamal with the basil, and it was incredible, and it tasted like Mexico.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so definitely fosters creativity,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's a very cool perspective because and I was talking yesterday about uh CSA boxes when you get surprised, like you have no idea what to make with that, right? Or even if you
yeah,
gave me an artichoke in there, I'm like I know I can roast it and I'm going to have to Google it and figure it out. And you can pull the leaves off and eat the meat that way, but um I think my friend Rachel taught me that. But
hmm,
it is I'm excited that they have fostered some creativity with what you're growing and the employees as well as the chefs for the restaurant. Yeah. And it
absolutely.
really intrigues me too, though, that, like this is not typically what we use in Mexican restaurants but we're using the same food and creating something totally different, which is so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. All the restaurants I work for are, yeah, they're Mexican restaurants, but it's like where we are now,
Hmm.
we're in Texas, and
Right.
how does that influence us and the food that we
Right.
have access to?
Right.
And at the same time, how do we honor like the practices that our ancestors have had, like nixtamalizing corn
Mm-hmm.
and having freshly made tortillas, and yeah, so
That,
it's a blend.
yeah, totally. Now you say you and it's what is it like Tex-Mex or what is that other phrase? It's escaping my brain, but fusion, right? Like you've got
Mm,
Mexican fusion in here with Italian basil and things like that, and but you can make it work, right? Figure out ways to make it work.
yeah, yeah. And I would say like it's not Tex-Mex
Yeah.
because that's its own type of cuisine
Okay.
that I love. It's
Mm-hmm.
delicious. Um, this is like way more like traditional and creative, which is feels feels very Mexican and very Texan. Um, but isn't like the what we know as a Tex-Mex cuisine.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Um, Now, you said the word spiritually, like that this is very spiritual for you, like and it's growing culturally meaningful food is not just produce. What's the distinction look like in practice when you're planning what's going into the beds each season? And talking to Sylvia yesterday, or not yesterday, but the day before, seasonally, and like so you have four
Mhm.
seasons? in Texas, or
Yes.
okay? So, and each season is a different type of food that you're planting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's 4 seasons, even though it feels like it's all summer
Uh huh.
because of the weather. But so when I think about like the crop plan
Mm-hmm.
for the gardens, I, consider what we've grown in the past that has done well. I also talk to the chefs and ask them what they're excited about,
Mm-hmm.
what I should, choose between, and like having limited space. It's like, what are we going to prioritize?
Mm-hmm.
And what new stuff can we introduce? Um, I have, introduced new stuff that I wouldn't have thought of myself, thanks to the chefs. So Chef Fermin, um, he's our executive chef at Suerte and Este, and
Mm-hmm.
he told us like, can we grow hoja santa? Have you heard of hoja santa
Mm-mm.
before?
No.
It's this herb that grows these like giant heart-shaped leaves that kind of taste like licoricey,
Okay.
and they're used in Mexico and Central America to wrap meat and fish. You eat the leaves, tamales, quesadillas, and it actually grows really well here in Central
Oh,
Texas.
cool.
In Mexico, where it doesn't freeze, they grow to be like trees.
Oh, wow.
But here it just dies back in the winter. We cut it and then it comes back from its roots in the spring. So introducing, new crops like that. Also trying to do like native plants, which our pastry teams use a lot,
Oh,
like Turk's cap.
and what do they use that
And
for? And what is that? Is that a flower or? Okay.
yeah, we use the flowers. The leaves are also edible. It's like a shrub bush. And make a jelly. Make a jelly out of them. We
Wow.
have like Mustang grapes also. Use like the fig leaves for pastry too. And um, oh, my chickens. You might be able to hear my chickens. Um, so yeah, I think in crop planning, definitely influenced by, it's kind of like a communal influence on what grows, and also just like based on my expertise on what I know does well, or what I think can do well. Like another example is, we grow a lot of okra here in Texas because it loves the heat. And so in the same crop family is hibiscus roselle, which is, what we make tea with, Jamaica. And so I figured, can we grow that here? And it did incredibly, incredibly well. And our pastry team was like, we have 60 pounds of roselle hibiscus. And they figured it out. But that's how it goes in like, growing cultural or like spiritual, or just food that like connects us, or that different people in our teams have a history with. Oh, um, Tracy, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me
Oh,
now?
there.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. I've never really talked to, this month, talking to chefs, talking about the vegetables they're growing and, as it relates to pastries, which is so intriguing. And
Yes.
thinking through that and the edible plants, and that's actually what I started off with at the beginning of the month with Liz, and is she forages a lot of those flowers and things and edible plants to put onto plates. And have you seen those pastry chefs and the chef that whose name I can't remember what you said,
Hmm.
have they changed their relationship with how they're cooking in the kitchen based on what you're growing?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I think so. Like, there's like an honoring of the food,
Uh-huh.
I'd say, that I witness. And a creativity for sure. I'm so impressed how they execute their creativity.
It reduces when you have 60 pounds of hibiscus, right?
Yeah.
It like because you have to have that food like, hey, I'm going to try this thing and this thing to make and see what we can come up with it. So, but you're growing it, so it's reducing the cost of that, right?
Oh
In those
yeah,
trials and error period of designing the menus.
for sure. Because like that's not an ingredient you find at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But one of our like the middlemen companies here, farm to table, like I saw they were selling it for like $15 a pound.
Oh wow.
And so then we're talking about 60 pounds a week, you know,
Right. Yeah.
something that we probably wouldn't have invested in. And now we have the opportunity to work with this ingredient that is very popular in Mexican cuisine.
That's so cool. I mean, so it's a cost advantage if you look at, like you can balance those things out and be creative and come offer something that the person next door is not offering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so I want to go back to you starting your volunteer program, right? And now, or you starting as a volunteer in this, and now you've built your own volunteer program at the gardens. What does it mean to you to be on the other side of that now? But the person passing on the knowledge, because you originally brought, hey, can I bring my mentor with me to the farm to help me do this? And now you're that
Hmm.
mentor.
Yeah. It means a lot to me. It
Yeah.
means a lot to me. Yeah. I'm like so grateful about to like how much I've been able to learn in my time farming, and specifically like these past 6 years tending to the same piece of land and like really learning it. Just to have the opportunity to share that and see people really excited
Mm-hmm.
to connect with like the earth, to learn how food grows, like the food on their plate,
Mm-hmm.
and then to connect with each other. I feel like those are like the three main benefits of going to volunteer at a farm.
Mm-hmm.
And to, I just like, I see how much they learn, you know? And then they tell other people about it, they tell their friends about it. And you just end up with like a chain reaction of people interested in how food grows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so incredibly valuable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm honored to be a teacher. I love being a teacher, honestly.
That's we need to learn. I mean, it makes me think of Jamie Oliver going back into West Virginia years and years ago, teaching kids like where ketchup comes from, right? Like that's from
Mm,
a tomato and or salsa. Like there's so many ingredients in a salsa that you don't even pay attention to when you're looking at it.
yes, absolutely.
Um, I want to go back to because you also said tending to this specific 1/3 of an acre land here. Looking at your other pieces of land that you volunteered on and grew on, have you found differences in those different things? Because it's terroir, right? Uh,
Mm.
of those lands, did you see differences, even though you're still in Austin? Did you see what can grow on different plots based on that?
Um, yeah, like slightly. The further like east we go, it's very heavy clay
Okay.
soil. And then if you go west, it's like limestone.
Oh,
So
wow.
you really
Okay.
have to build up. There's some farms out there. And I think I can't like pinpoint like the differences
Uh-huh.
in the flavors,
Right.
but the carrot you pull out of the ground is gonna be unique to like that land, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So um we can all grow the same varieties of stuff, but they'll have different subtle notes.
Right. Flavor profiles. Yeah.
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 Yeah, which is like so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, yeah, because if I grow one, that's just so interesting because it's the type of soil that you have, limestone versus clay versus sand, there's
Yeah,
some, yeah, I'm
for
like
sure.
thinking
There's
North
some
Carolina. Yeah, a variety of different things,
okay
and they
too.
all take their own different, and Sylvia and I were talking about regenerative farming and figuring out, how to make sure that that soil is healthy for future
Hmm.
generations. And actually yesterday with the women, Kim and Terry, that are fisher women, um,
Hmm.
but they're talking about, and they're, Indian, thinking through 7 generations. They want to make sure the land and the river are saved for the
Hmm.
next 7 generations. Like that's great, 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 great grandchild, But same thing
That's
with the plot of,
beautiful.
yeah, but same thing with that
That's so
plot of
beautiful.
land. Like you want it to, and because I'm sure you only were designing it to serve one restaurant, and now you're serving 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Um.
yeah.
So how look, okay, going back to Este Garden and then Nixta Jardine,
Hmm.
um, you know, how is that collaboration different, right? Because with the Nixta, you're working with the farm, with the employees on that. How is that collaboration different?
Yeah. I think like scale wise,
Hmm.
that's the biggest difference. At
Is theirs as
Nixta,
large?
it's a lot smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller. Um, and we have like 9 raised beds that
Okay.
are like 8 foot each, and then we have 10 20 foot beds.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a small fraction of Este, but I think that scale and like there's like this group of employees, these 3 other women and I who tended to it for several years while they were there, and um, it just became a very like family feeling
Hmm.
there. I think that place has a bit more of that, and then at Este, it's like the scope's bigger. And so we have a volunteer program there. And so I kind of see a lot of more people from around Austin
Okay.
come to that garden. And it's a bit, more structured, and I have to keep maintain a third of an acre.
Right. Yeah.
So it's more farm work. But yeah, it's definitely like a larger space that I see more Austinites like come learn to grow food.
And okay, and I want to jump that to your neighborhood, right? So you've got this big plot of
Mhm.
land in your neighborhood as well that you want to, you said a field, and you're working with the city to help turn that into a park and a neighborhood garden. And was that in, did your neighbors know that you do this for work and that they're like, hey, do this? Or how did that come about?
Well, I didn't start this project, so
Hmm.
yeah, in my neighborhood, I moved here 3 years ago. There's this like 10 acre meadow that's just
Okay.
walking distance, and it's city land, but it's never been developed. And so a couple of my neighbors, like maybe 6 years ago, started talking about turning it into a real park and having a area kids can play, and having a community garden, and having a food forest with like fruit and nut trees that
Hmm.
can live on for generations. Um, and so when I moved here, I got involved with that as well. And it's just a bunch of neighbors. We're all volunteering our time to develop it. And it's happening this year. Um, we're,
Nice.
yeah, we're going to start building it this fall. And there's no community gardens, like I was telling you, in Southeast Austin, which is a large area of Austin.
Hmm.
And so it'll be really exciting for people to have a space
Hmm.
to be able to come and grow food next to each other.
Okay, which then makes me think of what you said when you were working at the farmers market and you said you started with food access. So I think
Hmm.
that community garden helps, improve that food access. But how important is that in what you're doing, at Este Garden and then in your neighborhood? And then with your relationship, I'm sure you still have relationships with the farmers markets. How important is that?
I mean, like personally, it's super important. The kind of work I do, I try to see it through like educational lens, like the
Mm-hmm.
benefit a lot, which is why I devote a lot of time to like having the green spaces. I tend to be open to the public and provide an opportunity for people to come learn in them, because the food I'm growing isn't directly going to, hunger relief organizations
Mm-hmm.
like, or programming where people need it the most. And I think that urban farming doesn't solve the racial inequity
Mm-hmm.
problems in our food system, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that there's still important ways that having a community garden in your neighborhood, that having an urban farm that anyone can come into, like there's no gates, like that if someone's hungry, they come pick food, like it
Mm-hmm.
happens, and that's okay, and the owner is very okay with that happening. He says, if someone needs food, give them food. So I think that's still really valuable,
Mm-hmm.
It's like a
Yeah.
step in the right direction.
Right. Yeah. Because
Hmm.
there's a lot of people who don't know where their next meal is going to be. And I love the fact that he's saying, yes, if somebody needs it, tell them to take it, I mean,
Yeah,
and then in your community as well. I mean, you don't know what's happening in the house next door to you, right? We just know what's
absolutely.
happening with us um
Yeah.
and I like that co-op, cooperative sense of that neighborhood coming together. So, and I hope the rest of your neighbors, the neighborhood is appreciating the fact that what the 6 of 9, 10 of you are doing, for the
Yeah,
neighborhood. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think, some people are very excited now, and some people will be very excited when the project is complete and they can
Right.
benefit from it.
Right. Yes.
um,
Definitely.
but yeah, it's really special to have neighbors that care about that.
Hmm.
And that, I think that's how we make the biggest impact, is, the people that are arms reach from us.
Hmm.
So trying to just focus on that, and it'll trickle
Right.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think of all the kids that will learn from that garden, being able to go in there and pick from it, learn from, see how things grow, etc. All right. So one thing that you told me, before the show with written questions or whatever, um, you I loved the comparison that you said that event professionals and farmers have a lot in common. We've got long days, which yes, we do.
Yeah.
Weather blowing up, months of planning, a variety of things, and it takes a village. So, what's the most important thing that you think that hospitality professionals, whether it's event planners, venues, restaurants, catering companies, generally misunderstand about farming?
Hmm. That's a tough question. But I mean, I think like until you have farmed,
Mm-hmm.
you really don't know how hard it is. And despite I'm sure you can put yourself in
Mm-hmm.
other seats, like as an event
Right.
professional, and be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my goodness. Um, but working under the sun a full day with your body is very taxing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that um, I recommend going to volunteer at a farm.
Yeah.
If you're someone who works with food at, any part of the system,
Mm-hmm.
just getting a glimpse into a day in the life
Mm-hmm.
is super great. And I mean, it's essential, right?
Yeah.
All the food in our events, it comes from the farms. So I'd
Mm-hmm.
say like having relationships with each other, knowing who your farmers are,
Mm-hmm.
um, is the best thing you can do.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I have we have a local farmer, Schenk Family Farms, and they're an animal, so I guess rancher farmer,
Mm-hmm.
pigs and chickens and they're getting
Mm-hmm.
cattle now. But Rachel's called me and she's like, "Hey, I need an extra body. Can you help us come process chickens?"
Whoa.
Never have I ever
Ah!
thought that I would do that, but I've done it 2 or 3 times, and
Yeah.
that that's
How
hard.
was that? Yeah.
It was fine. I tore, to be graphic, I tore off the neck, broke the necks and tore them off, and then, plucked all the help made sure all the feathers were pulled out of the skin,
Mm-hmm.
and your cuticles and your fingertips, yeah. It was interesting, and I will do it again. And somebody's like, "Well, does it make you not want to eat that food?" And I'm like, "No, it makes me want to eat more food from Rachel and Joe because I know how they're growing
Yes.
it, and I know how they're raising it, those animals, with the care and concern, and teaching their 3 kids. This is what
Yeah.
we do. This is how we tend to the land, and so that's makes me more
No,
excited to buy from them.
I love that.
Yeah, it's it's very eye-opening for sure because you don't. And I went down to White Oak Pastures Farm in Southwest Georgia when I lived
Mm-hmm.
in Atlanta, and I saw a cow getting slaughtered, and they hired Temple Grandin to show them, to do it the very compassionate way of doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful. I mean, I watched it get skinned and everything, and yeah, so you could be grossed out by it, but you can also like there both of those farms are taking it with compassion, and the same thing that with what you're doing. You're growing this food with compassion, and the fact that the chefs, like, if they need it, eat it, let them eat it. And my friend Nina commented, and I don't know how to um, anyways, she said, quote, "If someone's hungry, they come pick food," quote, "This is the world we need to live in, and she's helping take us there. Amazing. Thanks
Mm,
for bringing more of this to light." So,
thank
uh,
you.
yes. um, and she's in Atlanta, so she knows who I'm talking about when I
I
mention.
I want to go to Atlanta.
Oh my
We'll talk
goodness.
about that
Yeah.
later.
Same kind of traffic problems Austin has.
Mm,
Yes, but no, it's a good city. It's a nice big city.
I hear
Um,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
yes, and lots of good farmers out there as well. Um, okay, so we were talking about that land, but because it is Women's History Month, you know, what would it actually take to make it real for more women farmers, and young farmers? And unfortunately, there was news yesterday that the grants have been canceled, for young
Yeah.
farmers, from
Yeah.
the USDA, um, which really sucks, to be honest. And
Yeah.
so, what can we do now? In light of that, how can we help young farmers and female farmers do what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up yesterday's news because I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, so what young farmers and women farmers need most is access to land and capital.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we don't have a place to grow.
Hmm.
um, I think that there's definitely like the policy angle that's incredibly important and is not my expertise, but I'd say that you don't need to be a farmer to be involved in, we all have a role in our food system as people who eat.
Hmm.
And so if you are someone who is interested in policy, getting involved in that, in like the food side of that, is incredibly important because we do need federal money.
Hmm.
But when I zoom in to what I believe of like how we can have an impact in our what's around, like the people surrounding us, the places surrounding us. I really think we need to like get to know each other, get to know farmers. We need to, because we can build relationships like of people who have land, like
Yeah.
leasing to people who don't. We need spaces, like green spaces, like Este Garden and Nixta Jardín and this future neighborhood spot where people can connect with food and learn essential skills, and they might become farmers too. You know, that's how I became a farmer.
Right.
And that builds kind of like mentorships and like seeds the idea that like, you know, I can be a farmer as a woman. And something I didn't plan in my life for.
Yeah, because you
So
did it from volunteering.
yeah. And I think it's mostly that, right? It's like relationships and access to like spaces that are educational and accessible and foster like hope and possibility. Like, I think that's the way that I try to focus on that future.
It just made me think, like when you see something growing out of the land, right? I'm like, the possibility of that little green thing, what it can bring. There's so much possibility in that.
And also, when something goes to seed, like when a vegetable, a flower, whatever goes to seed, and you see how many seeds come from one plant, you're like, you know, can we be that? Like, you know,
Yeah.
can this that we're doing, like, we don't even know how many seeds we're growing here. And it's a reminder of how abundant nature is and how it wants to grow, and we just need to continue to foster that.
I love that. Okay, so on that note, how do
Mhm.
you, thinking through your career accomplishments and all these 23 seasons, what do you hope the gardens leave behind?
Mm, seeds in people. Seeds in people. That I I hope that everyone who's gotten to learn from that space and to feel accompanied within that space and carries that on forever and keeps handing it down.
That's awesome. You need to start a seed bank.
Yeah, I do a lot of seed saving.
Okay.
And I share the seeds
Okay,
out.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, so some rapid fire questions to help close us out here. One crop that the SD garden grows that every event guest should try at least once.
Yeah, that's hard.
It is.
I grow a lot of vegetables, but okay, I think like corn, to be
Okay.
honest. I love growing corn. I mean, it connects me to like my ancestors, but it's a beautiful plant, and to eat like a milky corn off the cob is just everything.
And can you grow a lot of corn in SD garden? I mean, on the third, how much?
I know. I grow like I usually grow like a 25 by 25 block,
Okay.
25 foot. Yeah. So it's not huge, you know, but it's enough for like a special.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Sunrise harvest, volunteer work day, or chef pre-chefed. What's your favorite moment in the garden? Or one that I didn't even mention?
Uh, um I mean, sunrise harvest sounds very romantic, but you're also like rushing against the sun. I would say volunteer workday, because you never know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes, like, the workday with volunteers calls for like really slowing down. Or sometimes I'm like, yeah, this group, we're going to get a lot done. And I like honoring the pace that we need. Um, and also like making friends
Mm-hmm.
and other people connecting about similar interests. I love that.
No, that's great. And you're creating community around that food that you're growing.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the biggest misconception people have when they see farm from our garden on a restaurant menu?
I I mean, maybe they don't believe it. I don't know. Or they think it's all from there. I
Mm-hmm.
think uh just like not knowing how that vegetable grows in general,
Mm-hmm.
or what it takes, or how long it takes, or how much harvest does this amount this one bed can provide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just the lack of knowledge on how that food grows.
Okay, so we talked pastries and we talked, you know, regular menu things. What about beverages? Do you use any of that, like coffee, mezcal, aqua fresca? I mean, what's your beverage of choice, and is any of that food that you grow used in beverages at the restaurant?
Yeah. I love mezcal, but I'm not coming home to a mezcal because I'm definitely trying to hydrate. Agua fresca, yeah, we always have a Jamaica agua fresca at our restaurants. And then at Nixta as well, they make really fun stuff. Like, we grew a lot of lavender, and they made a lavender drink, and
Mm-hmm.
lemongrass, and a lot of herbs get used
Okay.
in drinks, and basil as well. Like Thai basil.
Thai basil, yeah. No, and
Yeah.
um, I went to a beverage class at Slow Food in Turin, and they were talking about
Mm.
foraging the different herbs and spices and stuff to put in your drink. So that's
Oh,
fascinating me.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can be so much more creative than a vodka soda or soda with a lime. Yeah,
Yes, for sure.
yeah,
So much flavor in our herbs and spices.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, finish the sentence. Every meal should.
Every meal should like be thanked, is like translating.
Mhm.
It's like you don't need to like give grace, but I think um I think we should be grateful for every meal.
No, I love that,
Yeah.
and we should. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a practice I want. I forget. Sometimes I just
Mhm.
start eating,
Right.
but taking that little time to be like, this food came from somewhere and it's gonna nourish me.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. That's very, very true. And all that fresh stuff is so much healthier for us and gives us so much more than we think that it does. So
Yeah.
I love
I'm
that.
curious what your response to every meal should.
Every meal should um, provide an opportunity for people to be included and feel
Mm.
nourished at that table. Because there's oftentimes that we have to get up and leave, or there's not something for us to eat. And so I want it to come from the earth. And I was talking to Lauren Palmer, I think last week, and I said, what was her favorite meal, from the garden? And she's like, just whatever I can pull from the garden and make it. And I love making salads with the stuff that I get from the farmer's market. And because it's just so fresh and has such good flavor to it. And I just put olive oil and some red wine vinegar on it. And because I don't douse my vegetables or my salads
No,
with anything. I'm like,
that's delish.
yeah. They've got I'm like radish and like when I ask for a salad at a restaurant, I'm like, I don't because it's just what one cherry tomato, some shredded carrots that are dry, some cucumbers, which I hate, and some lettuce. And I'm like, that's not worth my time. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Farmers market salad, that's where it's at.
Yes, it really
Flavor.
is. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so how can people volunteer for you? How can they find you? And I did put your contact info or your Instagram and your link
Oh,
tree
wow.
down here. And once
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anywhere else?
Yeah, so that's my personal Instagram. And then you can also follow Este Garden on Instagram. And there's a volunteer interest form there if you live in Austin. I've also had people visiting town who come volunteer,
Oh, cool.
and that's really cool. I usually have 2 days a week, and you don't have to have any experience, just an excitement to come out and learn something new and work with your hands. And follow Nixta Jardín through Nixta Taqueria as well. They do really special food. Um, and yeah, I think you're going to eat incredible
Yeah, for
at any
sure.
of our restaurants. Yeah.
Okay, so David Stevens and all my friends in Austin, you need to go eat at both of these restaurants. And when I come to
Mm.
town, that's where we're going to go eat. David Driggers, yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
come take a stroll in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's always open to the public. It's
Okay.
right behind Este.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you for also being the last woman that I'm recognizing for Women's History Month this year. This was a great conversation, and I'm so thankful that you allowed me to honor you and what you're doing, because it's really, really important. So I appreciate you spending time
Thank
with
you,
me.
Tracy.
You're
I
welcome,
really
Anamaria.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Next Wednesday is April 1st, and we will have an episode. There will not be an April Fool's joke on it. So until then, stay safe and eat well, and have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you.